Okay, I hope that this video finds you well wherever you are at the moment or whatever part of the world that you're in at this moment. So good morning to you, good afternoon, good evening. I am in my hotel room here in Munich in Germany. We've been out here for close to 2 weeks now with our 12-year-old team for them to get some training and train at some of the biggest facilities out here. They've competed here in Munich several times already. They were also in part of a tournament in Austria, which they did very well and have been doing very well in their games and in their training. I wanted to take a moment this evening, it's evening here right now in Munich, to just kind of share some information that I got today from one of the coaches that I feel like would really be beneficial to parents and to young players alike, in regards to the direction that you want to be going and things to be focused on if you are around 11, 12, or 13 years old at the moment. One of the things that the coach told me, and this coach in particular, I'm going to be sort of vague right now because I don't want to give away too much information about his identity or the club that he works for, just because of conflict of interest and things like that. So one of the things that he mentioned was that in between the ages of 12 and 16, the thing that you want to be focused on primarily is fundamentals and your technical abilities. This is actually synonymous with something that I heard from a very high-level coach as well in England last summer, when he said that the number one thing that he does for his young players is he wants them to have a relationship with the ball. So, and he said jokingly, I want them to marry the ball, to sleep with the ball, to always be with the ball. And this is something that I believe in as well. As when we were growing up in Cameroon, everyone was always with the ball. One thing that I do for my son is I try to keep the ball around him at all times. Since he was like 5 years old, one thing I would do is I would buy soccer balls and I would fill every room in the house. There's at least 3 or 4 soccer balls in every room of our house, and probably another 5 or 6 in the backyard. Another thing that I do to help with programming, because that's essentially what it is I leave a soccer game on, whether I'm watching it or whether he's watching it or anyone in the house is watching it or not. I leave a soccer game on just to fill the house with the sound of soccer, the sound of the cheers in the stadium, the sounds of the goals, the sounds of the whistle, to just always keep that going. Because after all, again, it is programming. But what this coach told me today was very important. Again, just to recap very quickly, is between the ages of 12 and 16. So he said 12 to 15 and 16 is what he said specifically, is fundamentals, technical ability. Don't worry too much about tactical at that time. You bring in heavy tactics at around 15 and 16 years old and upwards. Also, during running for young players, he said they should never really be running without the ball at this age, and that running without the ball comes after 15 to 16 years old, when you're doing more exercises and conditioning and stuff like that. But no matter what they're doing, they should always be with the ball and running with the ball. Another thing that he mentioned was that if your child is in the United States and they are playing at a very, very high level, you need to think about moving. And this is something that actually my family and I have been thinking about very seriously. You need to think about moving because, this may not sound very delightful to U.S. citizens. I'm a U.S. citizen, and it's not the most delightful thing for me to hear, but it is what I know. It's just not the biggest sport where we are. It's not. And so if you get very, very good, your ceiling approaches very quickly. And so you need to think about moving to somewhere else. You need to think about moving your kids. I have a friend who moved recently to Spain, took his 2 boys who are both great players, and they're flourishing and they're doing very well, and I expect to see them doing very well and playing at a very high level, whatever level that may be. I believe to see them at a very high level. Another thing that he mentioned was in regards to building muscle. Oftentimes people make the mistake of trying to get kids to start lifting weights and things like that, and to get too heavy on other forms of building muscle. This is actually not advised advisable for children um, before the age of 16. I listened to Thierry Henry talk one time, and he mentioned about how ludicrous it was for players to be trying to build muscle at 13, 14 when you really don't, your body hasn't formed yet all the way. Your hormones are still developing. Your frame hasn't taken to its full shape yet on what you're going to be as an adult, and this actually stifles height specifically in growing. So definitely want to think about staying away from that. But yeah, that I just wanted to share this information because I just thought it was some good insight from a very high level coach who has played for a national team, been in this national team system for 20 years, been coaching for over 10 years, and coaches at the biggest club here in Germany. So I hope that this information helps somebody, and happy hunting on your journey. Peace.